Hello? Hi. Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome to yet another uh video of working on the six fan art challenge. This is the third video. The very first one, which I worked on Yellow Diamond, is unfortunately lost to the ages, but I've since figured out how to record these streams. I've made a second video showcasing on the second character, Metis, from Persona 3. The next character, today I will eventually be working on XJ-9, but before I do, I'm going to do a warm-up. But before I do the warm-up, I feel like I need to do a quick update on my progress on Metis. Because, okay, part of the reason I do these streams at all is to motivate myself to actually work on the 6 fan art challenge, and to have video evidence that I've been working on it. And I don't know how many people would be genuinely interested in watching the process of the entire sequence. Most of this is just supposed to be like a fun little drawing exercise, and drawing exercise for me, drawing demonstration for you if you're interested in drawing at all, and you know, maybe you're someone who doesn't have a lot of confidence in their abilities, or you've never really drawn, but you're kind of interested in it, and you'd like to see some of the process into drawing anything. Anyway, what I'm trying to lead up to is that because I'm easily distracted by YouTube, Twitter, just having the internet, I did not think I would make any progress on this project outside of trying to make these videos. Well, my router, after a blackout, stopped working. I had no access to the internet for like 2 to 3 days. And among other things going on in my life, without the internet, I had nothing to do during that time. So I because I had nothing else to do during that time, I decided to work on Metis. Specifically, the thought process was, I'm going to work on the visor, because the visor is the coolest part about Metis. And I don't know, I feel like I should apologize if me getting excited to work on something and doing it off screen is frustrating. If you also kind of wanted to see how's this guy gonna do the visor, and so I basically ended up, because I didn't do it in a video, you might be disappointed that the visor is basically done now. Basically, I'm really happy about it, but maybe you would have wanted to have seen this, like how I did this. So I don't know. I can try to quickly jot down what I've done, because I have a bunch of new layers now. And I genuinely don't know how much of the process you want to see, but I don't want to deprive those who did want to see it. I don't plan on doing every single step-by-step of the 6 fan art challenge through a video, but maybe this was something you wanted to see. I don't know. Basically, as far as doing the visor specifically, the visor was the first thing I worked on during my internet loss. And what I started working on the black outlines of the red visor that I ended the last video on. Just a rough schematic of where I needed the visor to be. It didn't matter if I had exactly the right shapes. I just needed to know for future reference this is where the visor was going to be. So I did the outline, and the outline started with brush strokes and also using the line tool, which for whatever reason, I guess I'll illustrate it now. Whenever I use the line tool, it creates a brand new shape layer, which is not really something that I really want at all. I'm not really an expert in Adobe Photoshop, but I am enough of an expert to at least figure out what I need to do if I need to, if I want to erase part of this shape layer, which is not the same thing as like a brush layer. All I do is I hit this little chain mark that links all of these layers together, merge the linked layers, and now it's created one singular layer of all 3 individual lines. And now I can manipulate this layer to my heart's content, or whatever the phrase is. But we don't want that shape anyway. Anyway, so I basically very carefully made a sequence of like a spider web, monarch, butterfly, half the mask, and then copied, paste, reversed, flipped horizontal, and then combined 2 separate mask layers into one. And that's basically how I eventually, very slowly, I'm sure if I go closer, there's still things I could maybe fix up later. I could probably ignore it for shading. Color definitely helps. The addition of color helps. Whoops, too far back. And so what you don't necessarily see because of the gold visor font, the gold is way I did gold first. It used to be just this giant blob. I erased the empty spots. It's still kind of messy, but you don't normally see it underneath the black visor. And then the red visor is absolutely a giant blob. But once I started getting the mask done, I started working on everything else. So let's turn on some of these layers to see what the final product looks like right now. I think, yeah, I'm not gonna worry about body color too. Let's see. Okay, alright. So this is roughly where I'm at right now in the final version project of Metis. Right now, all I'm missing before I feel at this point, if I were so inclined and somewhat lazy, I could probably just quit now. I'm certain that the person requested Metis would be perfectly satisfied. I'm not super satisfied yet. I want to add shadow and highlights, which not super confident in myself with. So, but hey, we're experimenting. It's not a big deal. What might be a big deal is what I have going on under the visor at this point. Because something that I really want to do is I want to make the right half of the mask transparent so that we can see some of the details under the face. Specifically, only the right side, because as you can definitely see, I intentionally left the left side of her face this vacant void of shadow. I also I touched up on her lips a bit. They look really nice, but to be perfectly honest, probably is not going to end up showing up in the final product. It's a little disappointing. But okay, so what I want to do, I could do like a rough version of it, and I'll undo it once I figure out more exactly what I intend to do. When I feel more confident that that's the direction I want to go. So here's my plan. Here's what I want to do. I want to erase the red, but at a lower opacity, so it's not completely gone. There's still some red when I erase it, but it becomes transparent and you can see this side. So I might have gotten rid of too much red in this example, but this is something I really wanted. Oh, I didn't want it to go all the way down there. So erasing even less red. Yeah. Now I don't know if I'm going to erase the entirety of this half, or if I'm just going to erase what aligns to reflective highlights that I want to work on. But yeah, this is the direction that I want to go with the Metis request. It looks really nice. I like it. But for now, and for posterity's sake, I guess I'll just leave Metis there for now, and we'll work on XJ-9, Jenny Wakeman. But let's do a warm-up. So for today's warm-up, so the warm-ups I've done in the past, I've tried to stick to characters that I can just draw through memory, that I don't have to worry about looking stuff up, and get this done as quickly as possible, and try to dedicate maybe 30 minutes of my time. Incidentally, I can't really tell until after the stream is over. I don't know if, say, the mouse is invisible. If it doesn't show up during the video process, that might be discouraging, and I'll see if I can change that for a later video. The only reason to have the mouse be visible is if you want to see my starting point and see the strokes as I make them, not after they've already been formed onto the screen. Anyway, that line's too thick anyway. Let's make the color a little lighter. Anyway, The character I want to do a warm-up exercise on is Mega Man. Classic Mega Man. I'll work on a simple robot before working on a major robot later on. But what I want to do for this particular warm-up, beyond just drawing Mega Man, I want to... Okay, alright. I don't know how relevant maybe this information is. I'll share it all the same, just in case. So I'm right-handed. I'm a right-handed artist. And I know at least 2 artist friends who are... Whoops. Who are left-handed. And as a right-handed person, whenever I draw, I tend to draw counterclockwise when I'm drawing circles. In case the mouse doesn't show up this way. This is where my circles end up being. Because of that, and because I usually don't like to when I draw, I just want to have a good time. I don't want to worry about I don't want to worry about the direction of the mouse that much, or well, no, the direction of my drawing. Sorry, I'm stumbling on my words a bit. What I'm trying to say is, when I draw, typically, because I draw my circles left to right, counterclockwise, I almost always draw my characters. I feel more comfortable drawing my characters facing the left. So I don't usually draw characters facing the right. And if I do, it ends up... Honestly, I end up panicking a little bit. Because I have to try to draw a little bit clockwise. And that's not particularly my my speed. This Mega Man might be a bit big for the... That's all right. Let's move it and let's shrink it a bit. Yeah, apply. Anyway, I've mentioned this multiple times, and I tend to repeat myself in general. I consider myself a mid-tier intermediate illustrator, but I don't do this for a living because drawing is manual labor, and one that I didn't feel comfortable doing over and over again. Art school has a way of causing a disillusion to one's art ability, which sucks if you really want. It sucks if you really love drawing and you don't want to be discouraged by a teacher who's like, "What are you doing drawing anime or anime style, or you know, whatever the excuse is to justify like picking on a person who just loves loving to draw, even if you quote unquote suck at drawing, which sounds mean, but I kind of have I'm trying to get to a point. Picking on someone whose art stinks is like picking on someone who who you perceive as not having a good singing voice. And maybe they're saying it. Maybe a person's singing quality is not great. Probably shouldn't pick on them though, if it genuinely makes them happy to sing. Yeah, lemons. Okay. All things considered, I wonder if I made Mega Man's stomach a little too small though. This is of course classic Rockman, who always had fairly weird proportions. And every time I try to draw Mega Man by memory, I sometimes mess up and add details that probably exists for Mega Man X, not Mega Man, not classic Mega Man. Also, so I'm recording this on Wednesday, May 27th, and in Toronto right now, it's some kind of a heat wave, and I do not have any air conditioning going on, so I am sweating bullets right now. I mean, I would be sweating just for trying to engage, trying to talk, trying to entertain, converse. I have an OC character who it's not a Mega Man character, but I've definitely used traits from drawing Mega Man to create a helmet similar to it, like a Roman Centurion helmet. And it definitely comes from the Mega Man helmet, so I do have some... I have both practice and also the wrong technique to draw Mega Man's helmet. Because I keep defaulting to, this is how I draw this helmet. Oh, this isn't Mega Man's helmet, this is my character's helmet. So I'm trying to draw the jumping shooting pose that one achieves in the 8-bit Mega Man games when you hit the Wily doors before you enter the a robot master fight. Actually, how does Mega Man's helmet look like? So yeah, normally I don't have a reference for these things, but wouldn't you know it, I have my Mega Man amiibo within arm's reach. So, all right, I'll use what I can. I don't want to worry too much about using references though for the warm up, because this is supposed to be relatively loose and fast. Get this over with. Have a good time, but you know, the big project's going to be XJ-9. It's not going to be Mega Man. So I only need to put in a little bit of effort. Mega Man's helmet doesn't go that far down, actually. But he does have a nose. That's something that XJ-9 does not have. Also, if this amiibo is to be believed, which is somewhat based on the NES proportions, Mega Man barely has a neck. Anyway, part of the reason I wanted to draw Mega Man facing the right is because Jenny is definitely going to face the left just because of her place in the 6 fan art challenge. So she's on the rightmost panel. I want her to face the left. but I thought it'd at least be worth trying to, I thought it'd at least be worth adding, trying to draw a character facing the right before I move to my comfort zone of drawing towards the left. Particularly because... Oh, whoops, I didn't change the... particularly because Jenny Wakeman, or XJ-9 from My Life as a Teenage Robot, is not that difficult a character. It's a fairly simple, unique design. It's good. It's a really good design. But it's super simple, and I really don't have to worry about it that much. Beyond my own artist's interpretation of the character, which could take the art to new directions, the character in new directions, such as if I wanted to give her a nose. I'm not going to give her a nose. I don't know how many liberties I'm going to take with XJ-9. It depends on what I discover in the process of doing the drawing. I've mentioned this in one of the other videos. I've said that sometimes you discover the drawing as you're drawing it. Like, I've started drawing Mega Man because I wanted to draw Mega Man, but how Mega Man comes out, that's not something I know until I've already begun drawing him. It's a very happy yell. Okay. One thing I noticed while I was working on Metis, and I'm reminded of it now, is when I see published art online, I tend to I make the mistake of comparing my art in a negative or in a disappointing way to other people's artwork, which is very discouraging. You shouldn't, you should be mindful of how others do their work, but not necessarily, like, I don't know, be distractingly jealous, I guess. Like, there's the jealousy to want to improve, and then there's, it's mine, I want it. I want what they have. What are they doing with their fingers that I am not? What's the secret? Okay, admittedly, that direction has been helpful to me, in that as soon as I figure out some, like, really obvious solution, then there's a degree of, yeah, I did it. Cool. That's how I do things. But what I've been paying attention to is for other artists and their work is their line art. Now, again, this is a warm-up, so I don't care that much that my pen strokes are all kind of willy-nilly. And right now it looks like I've given Mega Man cat whiskers. But, you know, I look at other people's artwork, and it seems like... It seems like they have really thin, beautiful line art, line work. And mine, if you can somehow call a simple line work a clown, mine looks like something that ran away to the circus or something. Actually, are there any circuses left? Is that no longer a thing? I mean, okay, certainly due to current events, there's definitely no circus going around. But I mean, like, as a business service, whatever. Are there no more? Are there no more circuses? I know there are clowns. There's still clowns. I could have gone for a clown comparison. I didn't. Anyway. Doesn't super matter whether or not I ever figure out the secrets to the artists I perceive to be better than me. What matters is whether or not I have a good time. If I enjoy doing this. There's something, I don't know, Family Guy-ish about this Mega Man. There's something really odd. Maybe I made his face, eyes too wide. It's not Stewie Griffin wide, but it's kind of off. But I don't want to get too focused on what I think isn't working, because then I'll get discouraged and then I might just stop drawing altogether. And that doesn't help anyone. That doesn't help me, it doesn't help potential viewers. I just gotta plow through it. It's just a warm-up. Maybe, I mean, if I intended to be more serious about this, I might allow colors. I guess the blocking of the colors. If I'm talking as though this were like a stage direction. The placement of the colors might be a means to help me kind of feel out whether or not the line art is working or the pose is working or whatever, and then I can fix the line art after I've done some painting. This is partly why I going too slow on this. Why I committed so much time to coloring, well, Metis' visor and then basically all of Metis, because it did end up helping me a little bit see the bigger picture of where some of my line art was. So, I don't know. I don't know if skipping steps is a good idea, but going back and forth, if I get bored with one thing, I move on to another, and feel good about it. Yeah, alright, I won't worry too much. Just gotta cover that head. Oh, wait, hold on. Yep, forgot the underwear. Okay. Massive, Oops. Let's shrink the size of the eraser. So not that first erase, but you see this one that dipped a little bit into the foot. Super accident, but as soon as I did, I was like, oh, wait! Yeah! Yeah! Shiny boots! Yeah! Because he's a robot! It looks cool! Happy accidents. Was it Bob Ross or another artist who, maybe it was like Mr. Rogers or something, who describes some art projects as little happy accidents. Just want a little bush, a nice little bush right here. Oops, put a little too much green, but you know what? We can fix that right up. It can be our little happy little accident. I mean, some of that is a little too, I don't know, a little amusingly juvenile, but so of the 6 fan art challenge, as of this recording, I still only have 5 requests. One of which I'll go into much detail to complain about, because it's my brother's request, and he already requested this character already from one of my art friends, not seeming to understand why it's kind of a bad choice. I definitely want to go into more details as to why when we get to it, but as a precursor to it, which is why I'm bringing it up at all, I really like, even though I'm, kind of messing this up, because it's kind of a mess, but it's a fun mess. What I like about Mega Man, and presumably also XJ-9, is that they're robots. They're very obviously robots, but they are very simple in their design and execution. I've definitely mentioned this before. I enjoy characters who have Uh, I like characters that have a simple design, kind of a simple premise that encourages artists to draw those characters. That encourages professionals to reimagine, or new artists trying to you know, dip their pencils in for the first time to. And I like simple characters because they are, for me, they encourage me to draw. They make me happy to attempt to draw, and when I mess up, it's either as a professional or as an amateur, the simple character design still ends up coming through, and you can recognize the character, and that's encouraging, because you know, if you might be discouraged if you try to draw something that you're really proud of, and you know, you want your you know, to go really infantile in this comparison. You show it to your mom and dad. You want them to, you know, look what I did. And if they don't, and if they get wrong about what you're trying to draw, depending on who you are, it's either not a big deal, kind of funny. You know, if they're like, "Oh, is this a fireman?" and you're like, "No, it's Mega Man." You have two reactions. One, you can be like, "No, it's Mega Man, silly," or you can be, "No, it's Mega Man." And I think more often than not, I end up being the latter. I end up being the sad, "Oh, I thought it was obvious what I was drawing." I mean, okay, to be fair, maybe your parent doesn't know who Mega Man is. Like, genuinely doesn't know. So it might be an unfair request of them to know who you're trying to draw. Well, this is a very, very kind of chubby looking Mega Man. Let's that's, well, maybe ultimately it doesn't matter, but let's, yeah, it's a little thick. And it keeps switching layers on me. Not too happy about that. Yeah, all right, that should work. That should be fine. All right, let's quickly give Mega Man some skin tone, and then let's get out of here. Let's get working on XJ-9. Kind of a pale boy. Yeah, fight on, Mega Man, for everlasting peace. I think I'm pretty sure Mega Man's neck when he has a neck, doesn't have a dark blue. There's no specific color to it. It's the same as his jumpsuit. That, I think, can go up to artist's interpretation. I think I could add some dark blue to match the helmet if I were so inclined. But, let's, maybe not. Like, it looks weird, but the alternative is, maybe to fix more of it. I don't know, if I keep the, strokes, the practice strokes in, it's still, I think it conveys a little bit that this is, it's just an exercise, it's not a big deal, but it still looks decent. Still, what a little detail. Yeah. Also, let's see what the mouth looks like if I make it completely. I mean, for the record, it does kind of look like the spray, but yeah, maybe that's too much. Which layer am I on? Let's. Alright, let's. Maybe not. Hold on. Lower the opacity so I can maybe get a different color going on. Oh, not really. Now the only problem with doing the lowering the opacity of either the drawing or eraser, and then I want to say not committing to a single stroke, is that if you start to overlap the transparency, you create yet another you create a different color than you might have been trying to work on. That having said, maybe I will. And if I were inclined, I would start doing, I don't know, I'd shade the tongue a little better, but... you know what, let's try erasing the white, the guidelines now, but I'll lower the opacity in case it makes it look less weird. Yeah, that's less weird. Since it doesn't matter. Skin tone. Okay, actually, hold on. Finish the cannon. And, let's give this boy some lemons. Maybe another lemon in here. In fact, I kind of like that second lemon, even though I've, oops, gone over the black black layer, but that's okay. Oh, gotta select. Come on, get rid of this. There we go. Okay, there we go. Little chubby, little awkwardly short, but, oh, okay, you know what? One more thing. Yeah. I don't know, trying to erase the whites around the eyes is... Maybe I don't get rid of all of it. That looks like I took too much. I don't know, once I get rid of the guidelines around the eyes, it seems like, oh, you made a mistake, you need to shrink the eye, you need to actually put more effort into the eyeball. Whereas if I leave them, it adds to the roughness of this drawing. I don't know, I think I like it where it is. So let's put Mega Man aside and dedicate some time on XJ-9. I'll give myself a quick water break. Okay. So, XJ-9. So, I'm old enough to know what this show is, and to have watched it, and to have been its target audience. What I don't necessarily understand, it's not that I don't understand why XJ-9 has relatively endured, probably on her character design alone. But what I don't understand is why... I understand why she's popular, and I understand... as an aside, I also kind of understand why her show was canceled. But what I don't necessarily understand after all this time is why hasn't she come back? Why hasn't there been... And these lines are too big and it keeps switching to the wrong layer. Why hasn't there been like a revival? Not necessarily a sequel series like Samurai Jack, but certainly how come we haven't seen Jenny again? Ooh. Okay, I have at least one person in the chat. That's okay. Because I'm trying to dedicate time not to worry too. I think I spent the previous video spending a little too much time hoping that maybe this is the time that someone's going to have shown up on the stream, and then interact with them, talk to them, and that'll be my excuse for content. But I should probably make a better effort on my own to just either concentrate on the drawing or or allow my own stream of consciousness to take over. Whatever that may lead. Hopefully, presumably, it won't lead to what's it called? A gamer moment? A heated gaming moment, a gamer moment. Oh man, so dumb, so funny, so dumb. Yeah, no, I don't expect to have heated gamer moments from illustrating, from drawing. Although, I mean, not okay. My although was not gonna go. Oh, but I'll say. Oh, but I'll swear, I'll say the bad words when a drawing infuriates me. Oh, that's not beyond me. I don't need a fake reason to use the N-word. No, I'm not gonna... That's not me. Funny. So funny. I don't know if that's super relevant anymore, but... Okay, so... Because of XJ-9's simpler design, I want to try to have a more expressive pose for her than I've kind of neglected onto the previous two. In fact, for Yellow Diamond, I'm considering drawing a hand to hold on to, like, stroking her chin or something. But for now, we're focusing on XJ-9. Actually, a lot of this has been a fluke. I'm kind of already liking where I'm going with this. So as far as I can tell, XJ-9 doesn't really have shoulders. Her shirt slash top just kind of it morphs to match where her arms need to be. She's got some big eyes. Actually, like, I'm trying to remember as much of My Life as a Teenage Robot that I remember watching. And from what I remember, I don't think... Okay, I remember liking Jenny herself. And I remember the two out of three boys, the two of which, the younger brother, oh, there was this joke. There was something that made me laugh out loud all the time. It's just like the little brother being unimpressed or something with everything Jenny was trying to do. I don't quite remember what it was. But yeah, I remember the older brother who was best friends with Jenny. I also kind of remember the not the sort of what would probably be reimagined as a or revisited as a sort of stalker boyfriend, the guy who the quiet, not quiet, the nerdy tech guy who wanted to upgrade Jenny and was interested in her parts, and probably not a cool person. Granted, it's not like he was a reason to just stop watching the show. But I'm wondering if maybe there weren't enough likable characters in My Life as a Teenage Robot. I mean, if you love the show, you probably end up liking as many characters as that are in it. But there's only one, to my knowledge, there was only one. Okay, when I say there's one XJ-9, I know there was an episode where we got to see all of the predecessors, XJ-8, XJ-7, you know, her sisters. I think the end of that episode even concluded with, we'll all live in this house together as a family, and then you never see them again because, of course, they weren't designed to be recurring cast members. Episodes I remember. I think I remember an episode where Jenny got an artificial nose. And it's kind of this exaggerated, hilarious honker of a nose. And she didn't like it, but then it helped her solve a crime or save the day. I say solve a crime like she's a detective. Maybe there was an adventure where she got to be... You know what? If this sample of Jenny that I have up is to be believed, Jenny, the way I'm looking at it, kind of looks like Jenny's got some massive guns for arms. Like, she might be... Like, she appears to be a toothpick as far as her stomach is concerned, but her arms are, like, jacked. I don't want her to stare at the reader. The viewer. Just kind of want her to look up triumphantly. Kind of, maybe putting too much volume on our top. I said this when I was drawing Yellow Diamond. I'll probably proceed to talk about it again. Characters with simple designs are fun to draw, but there are elements to them that get frustrating when you're trying to figure out, I guess, the logistics of how the figure looks in 3D. Because even though these drawings are two-dimensional, I don't know, with the amount of circles, guidelines that I'm adding, there's a degree in which I'm trying to think in 3 dimensions. And it's because of that that I can notice that I'm looking at her arms and going, I think Jenny might be buff. But then, you know, I see that her hair, I think, is just painted on. I don't... Like, she has her rocket pigtails. But I think her hair is just... It's just like... She might just be an orb. Yeah, just an orb with a exaggerated kind of anime cheekbone, no nose, sphere. I don't even know what the back of her head looks like. Hopefully that won't matter. It might just be... It might distractingly matter to me, though. I don't know if I am changing my mind about her fist pumping in the air. I don't want her hand to be like an open palm, but I did kind of want to focus on her exposed palms. I don't necessarily want to give her the Superman pose, although, you know, that'd be easy. It'd look nice, but I think that'd be too easy. Working on both Metis and XJ-9, 2 robot girls. I have a friend who's been working on a webcomic for years, and I feel elements of, I think XJ9, definitely not Metis, but like, you know, robot girls, like, oh, I think that's where this character was not like ripped off from. It's definitely not. But as far as like root inspiration, there might be trace elements of XJ9. Alright, let's go for a slightly darker... I will say that having a little too much of the I want to say the underlayer that makes up her skull is making it a little difficult. It's better to have it than not to have it, but it's making it a little difficult to find where the ideal outline is, which is in part why this layer is not the black outline layer. It's just yet another it's another kind of practice layer, but it's intended to simplify, root out where the final outline is going to be. Let's, I don't know, lower the opacity a little bit. And she also doesn't have ears. I'm sure at one point she's been given a body part upgrade whenever the episode called for one. Like, okay, if she's facing up, I don't think I would draw like this neck. It would probably, I mean, it looks fine. In fact, it probably looks preferred. But again, going into the her relatively simplistic design, I think her chest would ignore that. I mean, okay, artist interpretation, I can do whatever we want. So I'll leave a line there for now. I might erase it later. Not a big deal. Don't have to worry too much about, you know, muscle definition. It would be funny though if I did dedicate like a weirdly specific amount of time trying to like give Jenny guns. Not, you know, not to be confused with pistols or the Second Amendment. I mean like muscles. I know that My Life as a Teenage Robot was a Nickelodeon show. I get a sort of I know that I think it's Butch Hartman who did the Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom and one other show, but I don't think anyone talks about that one. I don't remember what it's called. K9? Anyway, My Life as a Teenage Robot. I don't think it's him. I think it's like the same guy, the same team as like Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab, Samurai Jack. But yeah, no real love for it. I wonder if again, if it really was just like not enough. I wonder how the ratings did. I guess I know some shows just get dropped. There doesn't have to be some marketing nefarious explanation for why. And like I'm trying to think in my head. Let's say XJ-9 comes back. Let's say there's a brand new My Life as a Teenage Robot. Would I watch it? Would I dedicate time to watch it, or would I okay, I would definitely not be someone who would go, well, they changed it. They ruined XJ-9. I'll never watch the new show. How dare you think you can replace the original? I mean, most cartoons are not. Most cartoons, regardless if they're like a reboot or something, they're definitely not made for me. I'm an old man. I'm an old man who likes watching cartoons, but I don't feel like complaining about. Well, I'll complain about anime, but that's only because of I think they've completely dropped the ball on like the morality as established in the first episode. Specifically, again, I've documented my complaints about My Hero Academia's choice to give Izuku Midoriya superpowers. Now, that's basically what the show is now, so no use like crying over spilt milk. It's happened. But man, I don't know. Oops. Sorry, my mouse and stylus were fighting over each other over the tablet. Okay, the fist probably has to go over... I don't know, XJ-9 is just a really... I keep calling her XJ-9 and she goes by Jenny. It's mostly for, I guess, my own benefit to differentiate her from, well, I'm not drawing any other Jennies, and it's not like I'm going to go as opposed to Jenny from another show. But yeah, okay, alright. So, what I was sort of trying to say about... if they made another My Life as a Teenage Robot, totally new show, what would I recommend if I wanted it to be a show that I wanted to watch? And to be fair, no show being made today, I would not be the target audience. So I have to recognize that they wouldn't have to do anything that I'd want to do. And the thing that I would suggest might be something that they actually did for like an episode, but they don't make it this like the source of the series. Like, I think there was a greater mythology about an evil alien robot alien planet. I kind of remember like this Hive Queen looking character, and she wanted XJ-9 to join her on the dark side, and actually she kind of reminded me of Mirage from the Aladdin cartoon. But anyway, so a reimagined My Life as a Teenage Robot would probably go for a She-Ra style, just fighting that apocalyptic Hive Queen person. I would want it to go more for, you know, to be honest, I'd want it to go more for Metabots direction. Yet another older show with within that was my target demographic, that was for me. But okay, one of my like not pet peeves, it's more like one of my, how do I describe it? It's what I like. What I like in a show. I like Monsters of the Week. I like collectathons, whether they're gathering the Dragon Balls or Power Stones or a mix and match kind of show, like Metabots, like Kamen Rider O's. I would probably want a robot girl show, like not just Jenny, other scientists with their own robot daughters, or robot sons, but robot daughters would sell more. Robot daughters fighting in like tournaments, like shonen tournaments. Very I wanted to say very Astro Boy, but it occurs to me that my knowledge of Astro Boy, a show that does predate me, that I am not its target demographic, But I don't know enough about Astro Boy to actually make that solid comparison. This is turning out pretty okay. And I think because of the sort of Nickelodeon, Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff, simplistic design, I think I can get away with having thicker outlines. I will probably thin them out for Metis and possibly Yellow Diamond. But I gotta fix her upper eye though. Or her right eye. Like, this eye is perfect. This eye, admittedly, is closer to what, like, a robot eye might be. But I you know, given it options, I'd rather go for perfect. Actually, I look at some of the line work and I'm worried that I've made some of these lines too thick. Oh, I should decide what direction her hair goes. So some of the images that I have as reference, like I said, XJ-9 does not have hair. She just has painted shapes on her perfectly orbed head. And 3 out of 4 samples, they all point in the same direction. But this image, the one that's covering Metis, might actually be just a reverse image. And maybe her hair always parts towards the right, no matter her angles. In which case, then, my current sample drawing, the line art where you can kind of see that it's pointing towards the left, I'll need to make an adjustment and have it point towards the right. Okay, her hair does not go over her eyes because she doesn't have real hair. Well, what am I gonna do though? I haven't really given her a lot of space. Now, her eyebrows move, like cartoon move, so I don't think I need to worry about overlapping lines and still have like believable. Yeah, she could have lines that go over her hair, or why not? Doesn't matter, because you know her hair isn't real, but her eyebrows kind of are. I really feel like I need to either watch rewatch an episode of My Life as a Teenage Robot, or just find more sources that's not fan art, because I'm not getting a sense of what her hair looks like in 3D. Maybe it just cuts off back here, or is the back of her head? It probably has some color to it. I guess I won't worry about it for now. Okay. Well, now what? I think because of my preamble from before with Metis and the time I spent on the Mega Man warm-up, I'm actually in a good spot to start doing. Well, alright, I'm almost at a good spot. I still haven't quite figured out where. I haven't figured out about her hair, but that might be a coloring issue. I might just have to do that. Oh, I should probably definitely fix her lower right arm. No, Okay, it's right for the viewer. It's her left arm that's going down. Ugh, left and right. Okay. And I haven't... I guess I should just leave her neck like this? What does this look like? I don't know. I mean, okay, maybe the reason this looks okay is because the line makes it look like she has a robot neck. That's not really what she has. I mean, she's a robot, but it's a really thin stick neck. I've given her a pretty well proportioned neck, which might be wrong. Oh, let's see. She does have only 4 fingers, right? Yeah. Okay, alright. We're good on that part. Alright, I'm gonna... It's boiling in here, so... I'm a little tempted to call it quits here, just so I can justify doing something else, but more relevantly, so I can do the line art off screen. But that's kind of exactly what some of you might want to see. And to be honest, trying to figure out the line art is when it's when I start focusing more on the drawing. I think I've managed to create Jenny pretty close without within the context of the stream, where I'm paying attention. I'm making this character as I go, but also I'm not 100% committed, because I am doing because I want to talk. I want to talk to people. Should I make the bottom of her eye lower? I guess what I can do at least is thicken out like the top of her eye appears to be a darker a thicker shadow than the rest, which I might thin out with the next layer of choice. And let's see if, oh, shrink this. It's fine. Anyway, yeah. XJ-9 sequel series. I'd want it to kind of be a Metabots thing, where scientists show up with their own daughters. Okay, let's exaggerate this further. Only robot girls. Only robot girls. So then we have robot daughters, robot moms, robot girlfriends. You might even turn the nerdy guy who might be problematic to bring... I don't think he's that bad, admittedly, but he's a character that I could understand a reimagining making him not great. But get like a Proto Man or base rival XJ-9. And again, because I haven't watched enough of the show, maybe that is kind of what happened. I mean, I get... Actually, before the evil robot alien hive tried to take over the planet, what was XJ-9 fighting? I mean, she was fighting robots. Where did the robots come from? Were they accidental projects from Dr. Wakeman? I can't remember her mom's first name, but if it ever came up. But Jenny's mom. I can't imagine they were all... Oh no, the robot of the week I was working on accidentally went berserk. Jenny, you're the one who's going to have to handle the situation. I don't think every episode was like that. And, you know, My Life as a Teenage Robot is basically a fish out of water. I want to attend high school, but I'm awkward, not because of any, like, obviously perceived disability, but because of potential discriminatory I'm a robot metaphor. The discrimination metaphor, not the robot metaphor. The robot was quite clearly literal in the context of the show. And again, this is why I mentioned earlier that a show that would be made to appeal to me may not be the same as a show meant to appeal to a new generation of potential XJ-9 fans. But, you know, Metabots, shows like Metabots, shows like Kamen Rider O's are shows that they're a little hard for me to describe, but I find them to be perfect premises as far as both like marketing and kind of like kid appeal, because I'm a kid at heart, evidently. But they're collectathons and they're like mix and matches, mix and match 'em ups. I don't know how you'd describe that. But just a show where characters can collect new power upgrades and then mix and match their parts, which is like perfect. That's a perfect storm for like OC characters, and however you feel about fan fiction, whatever, it sparks the imagination to be like, oh, I want an XJ-9, but she's purple and shoots lightning. Because she fought, she's an electric themed robot. She's not even a Wakeman. No, I just call her XJ-9 because she's, you know, like, this is an exaggerated fan OC character of her. But I think, to an extent, that's a good thing. It's a good thing to want to create a project that, like, inspires people to want to, like, participate. Not necessarily control. You don't want. I'm messing up the line art. Yeah, this is when I'd want to like extra concentrate, and I can't necessarily quite do that when I want to talk about my ideal XJ-9 reboot. All I really want is Metabots back, and I'll take Metabots in any form. I cite Kamen Rider O's because Kamen Rider O's, if you don't know, is sort of like a Power Ranger show, but it's only one person in a costume instead of a team of 6. But in that show, the main character has to prevent the I guess the rise of these evil monsters called the Greed, spelled with 3 E's. I love that. And the Greed are so good, but I'm not gonna... Anyway. For them to be complete, they have to collect these medallions that are part of themselves, like their soul. And which is crazy sympathetic, because all they want is to be whole again, but they're causing general mayhem in downtown Tokyo, so you got to stop them for that. But as the character collects these medallions, he can mix and match them to create. So his base form is like the head of a phoenix, the chest of a lion, and the legs of a grasshopper. But he can get 3 grasshoppers and turn into a fully green version of himself, and each complete combination gives him a new set of powers. In the context of getting 3 grasshoppers, he can make shadow clones, just a million of themselves, and they all just kick whatever problem is in their way into submission. An ability, I'll say, that was so broken in the show that that the main character lost his ability to use all 3 green grasshopper medallions right away, because the villain stole it right away. So there's the narrative reason why he couldn't use it anymore, but it's clear that the effect budget couldn't afford to keep creating the shadow clones, the CG shadow clones. So, okay, this is too much of a budget. Let's just have him lose those medallions. And I love that. I love that idea. I love that practicality. Now, you're not limited in an animated cartoon for a budget, but that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thinking of not necessarily the budget constraints, but the mixing and matching, getting a complete set that creates a new power-up. And I'm a sucker for robots. And robots are the perfect venue to have that kind of combination premise. How's this going? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I need to, I don't know if I need to commit more to drawing and less talking, but I don't know. XJ-9 I thought was like the perfect... Oh, if I'm going to draw XJ-9, I'm going to talk about what kind of TV show I want to see. You know, can we bring her back? What capacity can we do to bring her back? Oh man, this is really bumpy. That's a really bumpy arm. What capacity can we do to use to bring her back? And what kind of show would I want to see her back in? And if I'd bring her back in a show, I'd bring her back in Metabots, in a Metabots-esque mix and match collectathon series. Never finished the second half of Metabots though. I kind of lost interest from the robots turning into half cars or horses, and the like death Metabots that were way more supposedly more powerful than regular Metabots, and it all seemed very... It kind of touched on tropes that I hate about shonen series, where you introduce a new character element, maybe MacGuffin, and it has to be so particularly rigged, powerful, or useful, or dangerous that it causes problems for the heroes, despite the fact that we've been following these characters for years. We've never seen anything like this before, and it seems like it seems like a suspension of disbelief for a new character to be like, I'm stronger than all of you combined, and I want to be... It's worse when they want to be your friend. It's not as bad when it's a villain, because of course a villain's going to be stronger. You need to escalate the story, but if someone shows up and claims to be just as powerful as the main character, well, we spent a lifetime with these main characters. You can't just insert yourself. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I know I'm interrupting myself, but okay, so there's this, because of the transparency, this little bit of black that we can see is all, that's part of the border of the panel, but I see it, and I think, oh, I can give, like, a little robot hinge. Yeah! I like that. That looks cool. Yeah, sorry I interrupted myself to explain, I mean, now I gotta just put it in the other one. Okay. Maybe not for that arm. I mean, that would be the side of the arm to have it. Okay. Anyway, it'll be good to know for me, for my own benefit. Do I want? That kind of looks like a, not a vein, but it kind of works, even though she doesn't have a bone or muscle in that kind of sense. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely be experimenting with the circle tool to maybe cheat a bit for some of these lines. I'm happy about my decision to try to give XJ-9 a more expressive pose, because I was worried about doing nothing but static, whoops, relatively static, not profile pics, but I guess bust torso shots, and I didn't necessarily want that to be this entire project. I mean, Metis, I was gonna have her just be center because I wanted to focus on her visor. I wanted her visor down. I know she actually barely has it on in like the story of Persona 3, like the answer, but how could I not draw that visor? It's super pretty and cool. It'd be a waste. It'd be like drawing... I've never drawn Lucina. If I were to draw Lucina, I would also either put the mask on or put the mask on her forehead. She's gonna have that mask somewhere on her person, is my point. Granted, I'm still looking for a 6th character to draw for the 6th fan art challenge. I don't want it to be Lucina. I might, depending on how I feel about, you know, the final execution of this this video project, I might just do another, you know, 6 fan art challenge. I know that the relative meme is meme, whatever it is old. Nobody cares. Nobody's doing it anymore. Everyone's currently doing the Sailor Moon redraw. But as I've sort of mentioned in the past, I'm a bit of a slow drawer, which is why I dedicate so much time to Metis off screen. And why I'll likely end up doing the same with Jenny on screen. It just occurred to me, the reason I keep calling her Jenny is because when I say Jenny and not XJ-9, I keep thinking about Officer Jenny. Yeah, nice and clean. Alright. Evidently, Mega Man was a really good choice for a warm-up because of some of the similarities that that the two have. I did choose to draw Mega Man in advance when I was going to draw Jenny. But that was only for like thematic purposes, not necessarily for like structural similarities. Oh, this will be easy. I mean, I suppose if I wanted to. When I was drawing Yellow Diamond, I did a quick Sonic the Hedgehog because Sonic tends to be my go-to rough exercise choice. And the way I drew Yellow Diamond, let's take a look at her in her profile. Couldn't have been more of an accident. I did basically end up making her helmet Sonic wheels to a degree, like Sonic's head in reverse. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what actually did. Okay, alright, you know what? I'll just. Gotta figure out that hair. Let's, I mean, that took a little too much away. Just want to get a sense of where I was without having the XJ-9 in front of Metis. Yeah, alright, I'm definitely gonna work on that handoff screen. You know what? Yeah, okay, this is running a little shorter than my my previous video, but I think I'm going to call it a day. because I'm not quite. I mean, I'm running out of steam because of how hot, possibly dangerously so, it's getting into my room, and no, oh, okay. You know what? Let's move Jenny out of here. Got my little... I think I said this when I was working on Menace. Maybe not. But this collage of all the different Jennies is giving me do it for her Simpsons meme feel. But yeah, okay. This is where I am so far. It's definitely progressing. I don't know when I'll get back to working on Jenny. I mean, it will definitely partly be off screen. I think unlike Metis, there won't be a degree of, oh, Simon, I wanted to see how you did this, because as I said, Metis is kind of not that. Sorry, Metis. XJ-9 isn't that much more complicated. In fact, she's probably simpler than Yellow Diamond, but that leaves her more open for artists' interpretation, which could make her be a better drawing than my Yellow Diamond. I might have to... I'm definitely not gonna like erase and redo Yellow Diamond, but eventually I need to get back to her and do some touch-ups. Yeah, this is the direction, the speed of things where we are now. So my next stream, the next video, whenever I get that started, I will either if I continue Jenny or Metis or Yellow Diamond, I think the only way I'm gonna get any like work done is if I just shut up. If I just kind of keep to myself. And that isn't nearly as fun as getting to talk. But I do... It's not like zero progress has been made. We got to see the direction of where Jenny is going from scratch. So this is good. We're making headway. So if I don't just touch up on some of these other characters, some of these 3 characters, the next video will be focused on the next character, the 4th entry, which has been requested to be Mr. Bean, of all things. Not exactly a match for these previous 3, but yeah, I'll do Mr. Bean, sure. But hey, I get the ladies, all this top row all dedicated to themselves. Mr. Bean will be somewhere down there, and yeah, okay. So next time, I guess we're gonna work on Mr. Bean. So thanks for stopping. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. I guess, you know, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that bell. I'm saying some of this sarcastically, but I guess also somewhat meaningfully. I need to kind of like genuinely ask. Honestly, most of this is just for me, so that I commit myself to the task of drawing. But hey, I want to say 3 down, 3 to go. It's 3 half-completed dones, 3 more half-completeds to go. and then dedicating